Assalamu alaikum warahmatullah. My name is John Fontain and welcome back to the Fiqh of Love. And we're here again joined with Dr. Muhammad Salah. Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh.
Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
How are you doing, Sheikh?
I'm doing great.
Alhamdulillah, it's been a long journey so far.
Alhamdulillah.
You know,
Thanks to Allah.
many episodes, subhanAllah. We've
May
learned.
Allah grant us success.
Ameen, ameen.
Yes,
And may Allah
ameen.
grant everyone at home who's watching success as well.
Ameen.
You know, we hope that they're actually benefiting and taking notes.
I
and
want to assure you, most definitely, somebody out there will benefit out of that.
yeah.
A lot of youth are about to get married, and a lot of people are already married, and they will learn a lot out of that, inshallah.
Yeah, inshallah. SubhanAllah, even just a small, learning something from every program, every little thing helps, you know,
Correct.
SubhanAllah.
Correct.
Now, in the previous few episodes, we were speaking about announcing the wedding, also the walima, you know, the celebration. And now the party's over. You know, it's time to go home. And the drums have stopped beating, and the heart is now beating. So today I
You're a
want
poet,
to,
mashallah. I heard you were a singer too.
before Islam, yeah, alhamdulillah.
You know, you used to sing the marriage and love. They
Yeah,
go hand in hand.
yeah, the famous song, Love and Marriage, they go together like a horse and carriage. So, you know,
You're gonna be saying that on the night of consummating the marriage.
well, you know, actually, let's start with that. You know, it's the night of the night of, you know, the wedding night, and you know, maybe the man can serenade his wife. He could sing her a song or say a poem, you know, something to woo her, as they say.
Yeah, let's talk about that. As a matter of fact, there are a lot of things which people think they're haram. Well, they're not haram. And there are also, on the other hand, other things which people think they're halal, but they are definitely haram. You gotta be very careful and distance yourself from. So we'll address this today, inshallah. In the night of consummating the marriage, in Arabic and in fiqh, it's called dukhul. So that he enters upon his wife or she enters upon him when she moves to his house. So in fiqh they say dakhala biha, yani he consummated the marriage already. And we said before, the consummation from a fiqh perspective counts as if once they enter into the flat, their apartment, their chamber, and they close the doors, so they are by themselves, where nothing interrupts them from having a complete intimacy. Even if it doesn't happen, officially marriage has been consummated as far as the ahkam, rules and regulations, and so on. The Prophet ﷺ taught us some beautiful etiquette on that particular night. Two people who never been together for the first time on the first night. Nowadays, due to watching movies and, you know, the world has become like a small village, so what is happening in Las Vegas is being watched even in Muslim countries. So the youth are kind of educated, but not necessarily on the positive side. We want to educate them from the Sunnah side, what they should do. So the Prophet ﷺ taught us on that night and before the consummation of the marriage, once you are with her alone and you're officially married, people have left and it's just you and her, the Prophet ﷺ advised something beautiful. A dua or the prayer is the most efficient means of achieving anything. We hope and we pray that this marriage would last. And finally, we've come to the point where, as you said, the drums stop beating and the heart started beating. So the Prophet ﷺ advised that to put your hand, you're the man, you take the initiative. She's
Yes.
very shy. So you put your hand on her forehead and you supplicate, Allahumma inni as'aluka min khayriha wa khayra ma jabaltaha alayh. Oh Allah, I ask you her goodness and whatever goodness that you put on her. And I seek refuge with you against any evil that may come out of that. So this supplication is very important and is very beautiful. Also, some of the companions suggested to start off the night with praying 2 rak'ahs.
Mm.
You see, the scholars and the companions cared a lot about pleasing Allah even on that night in order to be pleased by Allah, in order to be happy.
Mm.
On the other hand, you find people because the girl is wearing full makeup, she missed Dhuhr, Asr, Maghrib, and Isha. Why she cannot perform wudu? If she makes wudu, she will mess up her makeup.
Mm.
And the guy is wearing the nice suit, and he's worried that if he were to fold his sleeves, they would wrinkle and so on.
Mm.
So they miss the prayers.
Mm.
No, 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 no. Whenever it is the prayer time, I'm not a musafir.
Mm.
Offer your prayer.
Mm.
And don't worry about the makeup.
Yeah,
Don't worry about
subhanallah.
anything. And even before starting kissing and hugging and say, finally, honey, we're together alone and we achieved our dream. Allahu Akbar. You make wudu. If it was Isha, if it was Maghrib, you pray. And if there was no prayer, mashallah, you offered all the prayers. Pray 2 rak'ahs nafila.
Mm.
You're the imam and she prays behind you, the ma'mum. Wallahi, John, that is the greatest beginning ever.
Subhanallah.
And that inshallah secures the sustainability of the marriage and a happy inshallah wedding.
Subhanallah. You know, Sheikh, I once heard a Sheikh comment on the Salah, you know, at the wedding night, you know, offering 2 rak'ah, and he said it's kind of a reflection of the marriage to come, that the husband is the imam, you know, his wife is following. If he makes a mistake, she's going to correct him and help him, subhanallah. And as you said, it's a beautiful
Akhi,
beginning.
It means both of them are on the same page.
Yeah.
And their aim and their priority is to please the Almighty Allah. You know, everybody is excited. They want to get into conclusion.
Yes.
Finally, we're alone. We want to get intimate.
Subhanallah.
But we want to say, thank you, Allah, for giving us this opportunity, for making it happen.
Sheikh, in some cultures we see that the man either feeds the woman or gives her some milk. Is this prescribed in Islam?
It's prescribed in Islam to do that on every single night, not only on the night of consummating the marriage. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to do that with Aisha, and he said, you know, he said a couple things. He said, "Inna fi bud'i ahadikum sadaqa." Whenever you have an intimate relationship with your wife, or a wife having an intimate relationship with her husband, they will be rewarded for that. The companions were surprised because this is sex, you know, sexual relations, having sexual relations, and will be rewarded. I understand that you will be rewarded when you offer an act of worship.
Yeah.
So the Prophet ﷺ explained to them simply because this guy and this woman avoided the haram. They could have achieved it in haram, couldn't they? Of course, but they avoided that and they sought the halal. They resorted to what is lawful. So the Almighty Allah will reward them both, and they will receive a reward for enjoying an intimacy in a lawful fashion.
Sheikh, you know, of course, as Muslims, you know, we wait until marriage before any kind of sexual relations. And often, not just with the women, but even with the men, it's quite nerve-wracking. It's a scary thing, you know, if you've never been in that situation before. It can be very a scary thing, you know, especially for the women. Maybe they think, you know, how can they cope?
That's why these practices, which we discussed earlier, break the ice.
Yeah.
You know, when you pray together, when you pray for her and you make the supplication, and then when you eat together, and the Prophet ﷺ says, "Hatta luqma tada'uha fi fimra'atika sadaqa," and you're eating together, just you and her, nice, beautiful dinner. So you say, "Honey, take this from me. This is a reward. You're rewarded for feeding her. She feeds you too." And you start off your life by words of love, by compliments, by showing her how much you're appreciative and thankful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for blessing me with such beautiful bride. You're the best and the most beautiful woman on earth. It's okay to say that. It's okay to say poetry. And it's okay for her to sing for you. And it's okay for you to enjoy each other together in all the lawful means. No restrictions on that night except what Allah has made forbidden.
So how would, I know this might seem a bit detailed if you like, but how would one kind of go about doing this? You know,
You know, one of the benefits of having, mashallah, several wives for the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam was to teach us how would the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam deal with his wives while he is the greatest man and the most righteous at large. So there are a lot of lessons we're going to learn from the relationship of the Prophet ﷺ with his spouses and what they transmitted to us in this regard. But definitely, you gotta begin off this relationship with, in English they call it foreplay,
Mm.
the kissing and the hugging, and most important than that, easing the way through soothing the relationship with good words.
Jazakallah khair, Sheikh. We'll just take a short break and we'll be back to continue this, inshallah. Join us after the break on the fiqh of love. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Welcome back to the fiqh of love. Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh.
Alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
So just before the break, we were speaking about the wedding night, and we started with, just before we ended, we were speaking about the topic of foreplay. You know, before jumping into things, how do we take it from there?
You remember when we quoted the ayah which Allah the Almighty says in it, وَلَهُنَّ مِثْلُ الَّذِي عَلَيْهِنَّ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ. The ayah keeps a perfect balance between the rights and the duties of the couple. So Abdullah ibn Abbas radiyallahu anhuma, and he's the greatest interpreter of the Quran among the companions and the rest of the scholars, interpreted this ayah as follows. He says, I adorn myself for my wife exactly as I like her to adorn herself for me. So why don't we pick it up from there? How do you like your wife to be for you on that night or before having an intimate relationship? Many people complain that she's not ready, she's not wearing makeup, she's not taking care of her hygiene, etc. Many people do in the marriage counseling. What about you? So Abdullah ibn Abbas, and this is more than 1400 years ago, you like your wife to wear makeup. You're not going to wear makeup, but you wear perfume. You wear nice musk or nice perfume. And you like to see her comb her hair, I'm doing hairstyle, and dressing up nicely. Likewise. So maybe after the wedding party, you're sweating, because it was crowded and so on. Do not jump into conclusion. Take a nice bath, comb your hair, wear nice perfume, okay? Have a nice chat before. It's okay to do like, poets do. You stare at her and say, you know what, I feel you're the most beautiful woman in the world. It's okay. It's okay to say that. And perhaps this is how you see her,
What if, is it okay to lie in this situation?
Why
as well?
lie? Because you only married her because you think she's the most beautiful woman in the world. I mean, there is no need to lie. If you had another choice, or if you thought that somebody is better, what would you marry this person? Likewise. So when she says to him that you're the man of my dream, that actually builds up and strengthens the relationship between both of them.
So the man of the dreams, not the man of the nightmares.
Exactly. And in addition to that, keep in mind that the concept of consummating the marriage, it is not a must to be done on that particular night. Muslim girls are modest. Muslim girls, unlike even in the West, unlike others, so they do not watch porn. They've never been in a relationship, and the virgin girls are very shy, and maybe they're very scared as well. Okay, they don't have an experience, and Muslim men likewise. So if you fail to achieve the consummation of the marriage on that night, no big deal. Maybe tomorrow, maybe later, as long as you're not ready now until you're ready. But do not push. And if the other party is scared or is frightened, try to calm them, or her or him. It depends on who is actually scared.
Sheikh, in this day and age, we have a problem with porn. A lot of people are desensitized to sex. There's even statistics that in the Muslim countries, actually, porn is quite high.
Correct.
I actually think of that in a different way because in the non-Muslim countries, zina is more high. So you have to balance it.
Mm.
But as you say, people are watching porn, and sometimes maybe the man or the woman is actually encouraging their partner to watch this. Is this permissible?
Number one, watching porn is a leading cause of divorce
Mm.
nowadays. I'm talking about among Muslims.
Mm.
In Muslims and in Arabic societies, when the man assumes that his wife will be all of those, sorry for the word, prostitutes that he watches, that's not going to happen.
Mm.
When you read the documentaries about those guys taking drugs, being numb in order to perform in such evil scenes, that your wife is a modest woman. Your wife is a decent woman. She's not like those guys. So what happens, his expectations are not being met,
Mm.
and that actually leads to divorce. It can happen on the other side as well. So we gotta understand that among the evil effects of watching porn, it can and most likely it leads to divorce and failure in the sexual life between the couple.
Yeah.
So here a guy is a porn addict, and he's marrying a modest girl. She's never been with a man before. She has never seen the genitals before or a man in the nude before, and he assumed that she's gonna be a porn star. Definitely, he's gonna break her. Definitely, he's gonna cause a huge damage for her. So the person has to make tawbah first and has to try to eliminate those evil scenes and thoughts from his mind and realize that he's dealing with a modest human being, not with a porn performer or porn star. If he wants to maintain this marriage life, otherwise, I can assure you, she will never be able to give him what he sees in what he watches.
Because you see this a lot. I mean, I get many messages on social media of brothers who they're saying they have problems with this, and if this is before marriage, and it's really setting you up for destruction. Really, it's something even for the non-Muslim, the non-married people out there, that they really need to tackle this problem as soon as possible.
You see the divine wisdom in the ayah number 30, chapter number 24, Surah An-Nur, when the Almighty Allah commanded Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam as follows: قل للمؤمنين يغضوا من أبصارهم ويحفظوا فروجهم ذلك أزكى لهم. What actually leads to guarding one's chastity and protecting him against falling into adultery or fornication is the modesty of lowering his gaze, and in the following ayah, her gaze. Whenever they see something, even by accident, they lower their gaze so that they will be protected against falling into zina. But a person who is sitting and staring and watching, he or she is most likely to indulge into this act of zina. And no modest spouse can offer you what you see, because this is all fake, delusion.
Sheikh, of course, with men, maybe they've not pleased their wife. Do both men and women equally have the right to be sexually pleased by their spouse?
Correct. Satisfying the physical desire of both parties is something essential for the maintenance of marriage. And unlike what most people think, it's only the man's desire and demand. We have some cases where the wife is complaining in marriage counseling that the husband is not is not performing properly in bed, and she doesn't feel satisfied. And as a matter of fact, in some cases, that led to separation and divorce. So there are some clinical diagnoses which needs medical attention.
I mean, would it be permissible to use medication and
Of
Viagra
course.
and things like
Of
this?
course, there are some natural aphrodisiac foods, fruits, particular honey, black seed, and if that doesn't work, or if it works and the doctor just prescribes you some medication which assists you to function in this intimate relationship, as long as it doesn't have those severe side effects which may affect your heart or your body functions, it is permissible. Because it's not only the man who needs to be satisfied physically, but also the woman.
I also want to remind people as well, and for you to elaborate on this point, which is you know, after intercourse as well, what do we need to do? Because of course, as we mentioned, we started with the Salah. You know, at some point we're going to have to pray Salah. We have to make ghusl and things like this.
Yeah, I would be more than happy to address this, but still I want to comment on, sometimes the couple experience some trouble on consummating the marriage on that night. So the man has to be wise enough to assure his bride, saying, honey, it's okay, it doesn't matter, no problem. We'll try later. Perhaps when we go out, when we go for the honeymoon, when yeah, let's go to another hotel or and I'd like to bring to the attention of the viewers, be very careful because some hotels, unfortunately, they install some hidden cameras.
Mm.
So you gotta be very careful with what you do in the hotel rooms, especially the couple who are newlywed. Um, so assuring your wife that it is not the end of the world, and I love you in any condition, and we'll try it later, some other time. That give her confidence, self-esteem. It doesn't break her. She doesn't fall into depression. Okay, you gotta understand also girls who never been out of their parents' houses, and all of a sudden she's not in her room, she's not with her dolls, she's in the arms of a man for the first time. Isn't easy. Okay,
Yeah.
so take it easy. Then after having such a relationship, it is recommended to, if you want to sleep, if you want to start another relationship, an intimate relationship, is to take a break in between, perform wudu. But if there is a prayer time which is due, then in order to be able to pray, you both must perform ghusl. What is ghusl? It's not just taking a shower. It is washing the entire body, preceded with the intention of removing the major impurity due to having sexual relations. These sexual relations, some people under the impression that, I didn't have sexual discharge. It was just a superficial relationship. When the two genitals come in touch and contact, then the ghusl is due for both of you, the husband and the wife, the man and the woman. Okay, but it's permissible if it was done at night and you want to rest until the morning, until Fajr. You don't have to perform ghusl immediately, but ghusl is mandatory to leave the major impurity to enable you to offer the prayer.
Jazakallah khair, Shaykh. Jazakallah khair. Great advice. Thank you for joining us on this nice episode. And we'll come back to that next time for another episode of the Fiqh of Love. Join us next time and we'll be back with more questions and points to reflect on. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.